Welcome to Game & Grains, the whiskey gaming channel. I'm your Player One Richard. I recently picked up this bottle of Pursuit United Double Oaked Bourbon, and it is quickly becoming my new favorite double oaked whiskey. Now that's saying something, because if you caught last week's video when I was talking about Crittenden's Cut Above, I said that their double oak was my favorite. So it only makes sense that we pit these two together in a blind to see which one is the superior double oaked bourbon. So grab your controllers, pour yourself a dram, and let's get into it. One of the rules about making bourbon is that the distillate must be kept in a new charred oaked barrel. The term double oaked simply means taking that distillate from the first barrel and moving it into a second new charred oaked barrel. This just brings about a richer and more complex flavor profile. Now, in last week's video, when we were exploring the various offerings from Crittenden's Cut Above, I shared that this double oak is my favorite. I kind of fell off with seeking out double oaks until I came across this bottle. It could be because that this has a higher proof point, which in my opinion is just a little bit more flavorful than the previous ones that I had had. Fast forward to a couple weeks ago and I came across this particular bottle, Pursuit United Double Oaked Bourbon. Now, what's really unique about this bottle is that they use a combination of 3 different mash bills from 3 different distilleries, blend the whiskey, and then of course this is put into a secondary cask. So both of these are absolutely phenomenal. But if I pit them against each other, which one of them will end up coming out on top? Now, I can't do a double oaked bourbon blind without bringing up the bourbon that I first cut my teeth on, and that is none other than Woodford Reserve's Double Oak whiskey or bourbon. I had mentioned in the last video that my wife treated me to a birthday trip to the Kentucky whiskey trail for my 40th birthday, and one of the distilleries we stopped at was Woodford Reserve. And this is the one that I cut my teeth on. Absolutely really enjoyed the tasting experience. They paired it with food. They told you just a variety of just different ways to enjoy their whiskey. And so this is really got some special meaning behind it other than what is in the bottle. So we're going to add this one into the mix and see where it may fall in comparison to these other two. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to have my wife off camera pour each of these into a Glen. She will know which one is which, and then at the end, I will reveal which one of these is my favorite, and we'll see whether it's Pursuit, Crittenden's, or maybe Woodford Reserve that reigns as the superior double oaked whiskey. All right, so my wife came in, was generous enough to pour these into the glasses, labeled them each for me. So we're gonna go into each of these. I'm gonna give you my tasting notes, and then as we go along, I'll place them in order from 1 to 3, 1 being my favorite, 3 being my least favorite of the 3. Starting from my right to left, this is obviously number 1, 2, and 3. So we're gonna go in on number 1. First thing that I noticed is that it has this nice, dark, rich color, which again, if you're doing a double oak, you're getting twice as much char, coloration, or influence that's gonna be on them. So, but out of the 3, with this being a lower proof, the Woodford Reserve, I think it's 45.2, so 90.4 proof. I'm expecting this one to be watered down, so I'm not really thinking that this is going to have a very dark flavor. So then that means it's going to be probably one of these two. The Pursuit United, that comes in at 108 proof, I believe. And then the Crittenden's Cut Above is 115.6. So dark, rich color. It's holding on to the glass, slowly moving down. So nice legs. Let's get in on the nose. So the first thing that I'm getting is that just higher proof. I'm getting some of that, well, I guess the proof on the nose. Then I'm getting that wood influence. I'm not really getting anything sweet. Just, well, okay. An underlying sweetness there. I'm going to go ahead and get in on the taste. Cheers. There it is. So on the taste, it's sweetness, almost like the faintest hint of chocolate. This is definitely proofy. I should mention this is my first pour of the night, but slight flavor of chocolate. Definitely get caramel notes that is there, and that wood influence coming from the char on both of those barrels. As of right now, just off of the taste on this, I'm willing to bet that it's probably going to be Crittenden's. Oh yeah, going back in, more of that chocolate note is present. Again, followed by the caramel sweetness. It is a little drying on the tongue. I do notice that with higher proof, secondary cask, or more casks that are used, I typically get a dryness on my tongue, which would make sense with it being a double oak. So I'm going to put this guy over here for the time being. Number one, I think, is Crittenden's Cut Above Double Oak. So number two, out of the three in the lineup, this one looks a lot lighter in coloration. As I swirl it in the glass, I'm not really seeing any legs that are appearing on it. So just on the guess alone, just based on color and it not really holding onto the glass, I'm saying that this is probably Woodford. Now, I will say that this is a thicker Glen compared to these other two. So I have noticed in other videos and blinds that this kind of distorts the color a little bit. So we're going to take that lighter coloration with a grain of salt. So on the nose, very mellow compared to this one. This one is very much in your face, number one. Very bold. Just that wood influence with the slight underlying sweet note there. Whereas this one, almost like a, kind of reminds me of like ice cream, like a vanilla ice cream. Or like a vanilla soda. So if you ever had like a vanilla Coke, I'm kind of getting some of that. Okay, so on par with what I'm guessing is probably going to be this Woodford Reserve. So cheers on the taste. That's very mellow, very sweet. Almost like a cupcake, like cupcake icing, or cake icing. Honestly, if this is the Woodford Double Oak, I'm glad that I'm giving this a second chance if that's what this turns out to be, because this is actually quite delightful. Now, one of the things that I thought was really cool, I'm going to leave this one here because I do think that number 2 is the Woodford Reserve. When we did the tasting event at Woodford, what I thought was really interesting is that they had their standard offerings and then a small tin or a little cup that had different snacks in it. And for the Woodford Double Oak, they have little butterscotch chips. So it's like chocolate chips, but butterscotch. And they had us sample the whiskey beforehand, have the chocolate, or excuse me, the butterscotch chip, and then go back in. And something about that sweetness, maybe the oils or the fats that were in that butterscotch chip, really took away the wood influence and made that sweetness, it really accentuated the sweetness of the double oak. So one of the first things that we did when we came home, my wife and I, we obviously bought a bottle of the double oak from the distillery. We came home, bought a bag full of butterscotch chips, and we did our own little tasting with it. And so it was really cool just to get to play with flavors and how they match up with different whiskeys and bourbons and stuff. If you are looking for a cool channel, little side quest, little side note, of a group that does really good with pairing whiskeys with different foods and stuff like that. The folks over at Poor Decisions Pairing, Brandon and Mary, are some great people, great content creators. They do a really good job of saying, hey, here is this particular whiskey or bourbon. Here is what food it would go great with. If you're into cigars, they recommend cigars that would play nice with the whiskeys as well. So Poor Decisions Pairing, definitely check them out. Brandon and Mary are doing some great things over there. I'll be sure to leave a link down in the description. So far, out of the 3, number 1, very bold, very intense flavors. It feels to me like a very high proof whiskey. On the nose, like I said, a lot of wood influence, underlying sweetness, flavors, chocolate, caramel, and then that wood influence. Number 2, very light on the nose, almost like cake icing, and that is very reflective also on the taste. Number 1, as far as the finish goes, it definitely sat there and lingered. It dried up my tongue a little bit, whereas this one, it lingered for a second, but very quickly dissipated. On to number 3. Oh my gosh, this smells like butterscotch. So, I'm willing to bet that this is going to be okay. I am betting that this is the Pursuit United. So the nose is stronger as far as scents go compared to number 2, but not as bold as number 1. This, like I said, smells like butterscotch. Slight wood influence to it. Caramel and vanilla. But butterscotch. Like liquid butterscotch. All right, so let's get it on the taste. Cheers. Okay. Very similar to butterscotch in the flavor profile. I first get a little bitterness, which I'm guessing is probably from that secondary char or the char. That goes away almost instantaneous. You're left with that butterscotch note that is there. And there's a slight drying on my tongue. This one, number 1, was very drying on the tongue. I felt like it was in the middle and then slowly started to kind of like go outwards to the outer part of my tongue. This is just sitting central on the mid palate. Yeah, butterscotch, almost like a honey caramel. Okay, so as far as lineup goes, I am willing to bet that this is the correct order. So number 1, I am saying is the Crittenden's Cut Above. Number 2, I am saying is the Woodford Reserve Double Oak. Number 3 is that Bourbon Pursuit. Now, as far as my favorite goes, I need to go back in and taste it because honestly, I enjoy all of these for various reasons. I love the proof on this one. I don't consider myself to be a proof hound, but I'm really enjoying the proof on this one. This one is really soft, mild. Like I said, I'm really enjoying that cake icing note that I'm getting on it. This, like I said, would probably go good with like a dessert. I would pair this with some sort of dessert. And then this one right here is just a nice middle of the road. I could see just like sitting at a bar with friends, talking over this. It's not anything that I feel like is overly proofy or punchy. The flavors are great. Lots of butterscotch on this one. So I'm going to go back through them again. And I'm going, actually, no, I'm going to go ahead and put them in order based on what is my favorite. So, all right, we'll go through number 1. Now that I've gone back through all of these, and now I'm nosing this one, it's had time to open up. I'm getting more caramel than butterscotch, but that butterscotch note is definitely present. All right, this one, although I'm enjoying the proof, and again, it could be because this is still early in the evening as I'm filming this, this one's just a little too proofy for me at right now in this moment. Now, different days, what I eat, that will definitely affect the order. But I'm going to say right now, I'm going to put this middle of the road. So we're going to say number 1 is Crittenden's, but I'm going to put it in the second place spot for now. Number 2, which I believe is Woodford Reserve. Now having gone back to the nose, weird description, but have you ever bought like boxed butterscotch pudding? That's what this reminds me of a like a Jello butterscotch pudding, specifically like the box kind that you would have to add your milk and whatever, put in your containers and put it in the fridge. There's like a weird nutty note to it, almost like Honey Nut Cheerios now that I'm going back in. The flavor is a little bit more pronounced now that I've gone back into this. It could be from hopping from 1 to 2. I'm still going to say this is Woodford Reserve. I'm going to leave it in the 3 spot for now. Let me move these where you can see them. Only because I do like a little bit more proof. If I want something that I can have multiple pours of during a night, something sweet, maybe after dinner, this would go great with that. All right, on to number 3, which I believe is Pursuit United. Just that, like I said, that caramel, it's almost like if you could take, it reminds me of a fireplace, not in a bad way. I have a favorite candle that my wife gets from Bath and Body Works. It's called Marshmallow Fireside. It's so good. It's almost like you could take just like the burnt notes of a marshmallow and put it into candle form. So you get this slight burnt sugar note. That's what I'm getting here. Yeah, this is going to be number one. So I believe Pursuit, Crittenden's, and Woodford Reserve. So I'm going to move these around. Let's see how I did. So we're going to start with what I'm saying goes in third place. Still really good bourbon, still really good double oak, but in the 3 spot. So I said Woodford Reserve. Oh no. Oh no. That's number 3. The one that I put in first place. No, that's not good. All right, I said number 1, excuse me, is my number 2. So middle of the road whiskey. I said I think that is Crittenden's Cut Above. Number 1. And I said my number 1 was number 3, which I thought was Pursuit United. Turns out Pursuit United is number 2. Well then, okay. Well, I need to do some reevaluating of what I said that I like and prefer. Again, all of these are really great whiskeys. This one drunk a little bit higher proof than I thought it was going to. The Pursuit United drank a lot lighter than I thought it was going to. So I was blown away by the results. All of them are good whiskeys. If you have access to any of them, I highly encourage that you grab you a bottle. Put together your own blind. It doesn't have to be these double oaks. There are plenty out there. One that I would love to try is Peerless Double Oak. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but great whiskeys. Double oaks are great to try. All right. Thank you as always for sticking until the end. This is a little bit longer than what I had planned on, but I had a lot of fun doing this with you. Do all the YouTube things. Please make sure that you like this video. I am really close to hitting that 100 subscriber mark. I have some ideas for what I would like to do to celebrate. So share with friends, make sure that you are subscribed, and then down in the comments below, let me know, have you tried any of these double oaks? Which one of them is your favorite? Is there something that's not up here that I should be actively seeking out to maybe dethrone the Woodford Reserve Double Oak? All right. Again, thank you for sticking to the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.